Today we are multiplying and dividing these fractions. So we worked with simplifying these individually on last Thursday, Friday. Today we're working on multiplying them. So some students look at this problem and they think, I'm going to simplify all that and then I'll multiply. That is an option, but if you do that, you'll have to simplify a little bit more after you multiply. It just makes more sense to me to multiply everything at once and then simplify all at once. Just do each step one time. So that's what I'm going to do. 12ac cubed d squared over 9ab times 12a squared bc over 8a cubed c squared d. As I said, the first thing we'll do is just multiply. And reminder, the rule for multiplying fractions. You multiply straight across. Top and bottom. When you multiply these, do one thing at a time. Don't try to do everything all at once. So we'll start with the numbers on top. 12 times 14, that's 168. A times a squared. When I multiply those a's, what am I actually going to do? I'm going to add those exponents. So I have a to the first and a squared. So when I multiply those, I'm going to get a cubed. 1 plus 2 is 3. Next, the next letter in that fraction is C, but look for B. We do have a B in the other fraction. So we're just going to carry that over to the answer. Now we'll do the C's. We have C cubed and C to the first over here. So add 3 and 1 and we get C to the fourth. And lastly, we have a single d term here, and it's d squared. Repeat that on the bottom. We have 9 times 8, that's 72. And then we have a to the first here, and a cubed, so a to the fourth. And then again, we have a b to the first, and no other b terms, so I'm just going to write that as b. And then we have c's and d's here, so we'll just copy them over. C squared d. Just like the previous notes, this is my nice copy of the fraction, so I'm going to leave that, rewrite it, and then the rewritten one, I will do all the canceling. When you go back and look at these later, it'll be nice to be able to clearly follow what you did each step. 168, a cubed, b, c to the fourth, d squared, over 72, a to the fourth, b, c squared, d. Yes?
Do you have to rewrite it on the test?
No. This is just for notes to have a nice copy. On the test, I anticipate you'll do the canceling in that first one. Yeah. All right, cancel. We go one thing at a time. So we start with the numbers. 168 over 72. Reminder, your calculator can do this for you. 168, ABC, 72. And I'm going to get a mixed number, so we have to convert. On this calculator, it's second ABC. On the white calculators, it's shift ABC instead. But whatever calculator you're using, you should get 7/3. So 7 on the top, so 168 becomes a 7, and then 72 on the bottom becomes a 3. Now for the letters, starting with the A's. A cubed on top, a to the fourth on bottom. Reminder, you subtract where the larger one is. So on the bottom, I'll do 4 minus 3, and then I'll completely cancel that a cubed on top. Again, make sure you're neat when you do this. This is going to get really messy. I have a b on top and bottom. They're exactly the same, so those will both just cancel. C's, I have 4 on top, 2 on bottom, so I'm going to subtract 2 on the top, and then the 2 on bottom will be canceled completely. Lastly, the D's, I have squared on top and then 1 on bottom. So I'll do 2 minus 1 on the top, and the bottom will cancel completely. And now we will put our final answer together. Make sure you read through this carefully. Again, some details are going to be very easy to miss because they get lost in all the mess. First, we have our number 7. A's are gone, B's are gone. C, we have 4 minus 2, so C squared. And D, we have 2 minus 1, so D to the first, or just D. On the bottom, we have a 3. A to the 4 minus 3, that's A to the first, or just A. And B, C, and D all canceled out. This is our final answer. So as I said, these problems aren't bad. You just have to be systematic in your approach. Take your time. Be neat. Questions on number 1 before I do number 2? Number 2, same process, but with factoring. X squared plus 8x plus 16 over 2x minus 2 times x minus 1 over x squared plus 2x minus 8. When you have factoring involved, you're going to want to factor everything, replace with their factors, then do the multiplication. So we're going to do all the work right at the beginning. In preparation for this, I'm going to write out 2 new sets of fractions, and they're going to get replaced with the factors as I go. As you can see, this is going to take a lot of space on the paper, so how I'm going to do my work is I'm going to start on the left side and then do the bottom as necessary, just giving you that heads up. First problem, we have x squared plus 8x plus 16. What do we always look for first? GCF. There's no GCF here. Our front number is 1, and 16 doesn't have any x's. So we can jump right into our ACB chart. Label ABC. We have A times C on the left and B on the right. A times C, 1 times 16, that's positive 16. And since it's positive, we are adding in this problem. And B is 8, positive 8. 16, we have 1 and 16, 2 and 8, and 4 and 4. And we want to add and give us 8, so we're going to use 4 and 4, because 4 plus 4 does indeed equal 8. So we're going to use 4 and 4 for our factors. Got my x's, and then plus 4 in both of those. So that's going to replace the top of the first fraction. X plus 4, x plus 4. Next, we have that 2x minus 2. (2x minus 2), what kind of problem is this? GCF. This is why we always look for a GCF. We're going to give you plenty of those. They both share a 2, so GCF is 2. So we're going to divide both of those by 2. And some of you have probably already made this mistake on your homework. When you have a GCF, it doesn't disappear, it comes out. So bring the 2 out, and then divide. That will give you what's inside the parentheses. 2x over 2, the 2's cancel, and we just have x, minus 2 over 2 is just 1. And here's how it factors. So that's the bottom of the first fraction. We'll replace it with 2 times x minus 1. On the top of the second fraction, we just have x minus 1. Those are both 1, and they don't both share an x. So there is no GCF here. That is the whole term. So it's just x minus 1. The only change I would make is put parentheses around it. And lastly, we have x squared plus 2x minus 8. Factor that below. Check for a GCF. We don't have one. The front number is 1. So we'll use the ACB chart. A times C on the left, B on the right. A times C is 1 times negative 8, so negative 8. Since it's negative, we are subtracting on this problem. And B is 2, positive 2. 8, we have 1 and 8, and 2 and 4. We are subtracting. And if we use 2 and 4, we can get 2. When it's subtraction, I want you to write it both ways and ask yourself which one is correct. We want positive 2. So 4 minus 2 will give us positive 2. Therefore, the negative goes in front of 2, not 4. So it's negative 2, positive 4. Those are the factors. And I'll replace those above. X minus 2, x plus 4. Questions over the factoring before I multiply and cancel. On the test, this is going to be the majority of your work, is doing the factoring, and that's where the majority of the points will come from, not from the actual fraction work where you multiply and cancel things out, but factoring. So most of the points of the test are from your ability to factor. Can't stress enough how important that is. Now when I say multiply, it's not what you think. If we were to actually multiply these together, that would involve a bunch of foiling. We're not going to do that for a couple reasons. One, that's a lot of time and energy. Two, all it would do is bring us back to where we started, which is an unproductive thing to do. So leave everything factored as is. When I say multiply, I mean write everything together into one fraction. So on the top, I'm just going to put all of these together. X plus 4, x plus 4, x minus 1. On the bottom, same thing. And the 2 is already in front, but I would make sure it's there since it's like a lonely 2. It's a monomial. It will go in front. 2 times x minus 1, x minus 2, x plus 4. So I'm going to add a little bit of an explanation if you want to write it down. So multiply, and I put that in quotes because we're not actually changing anything. Just put everything together on top and bottom. So again, that's what I mean when I say multiply. And I'm going to write this one more time to do the canceling. So just copy that down real quick. And now the fun part, canceling everything out, making this look like a smaller fraction. I'm just going to go across the top. X plus 4 on top, and we do have 1 on bottom, so those will cancel. X plus 4 on top, I don't have another 1 to cancel, so that will stay. X minus 1 on top, X minus 1 on bottom, those do cancel. Everything left there is my answer. On the top, we just have x plus 4 in parentheses. And on the bottom, we have 2 times x minus 2. There's our answer. Questions on that process? All right, flip on over to the next page. We have another multiplication and then division. Number 3, x squared minus 3x over x squared minus 64 times 3x squared minus 23x minus 8 over x squared minus 4x plus 3. So again, first thing I'm going to do is set up my blank fractions because I'll replace everything with factors. Everything that I can, at least. These first couple problems are going to go by quickly. First, we'll start with x squared minus 3x. What kind of problem is this? GCF. Always look for a GCF first, and this is why. We can divide both of those by an x. They share an x. So the x comes out, it doesn't disappear. And then inside of those parentheses, x squared over x, that's just going to leave me with a singular x, minus the 3 will stay, and the x's are both gone. So the first fraction on the top, I'll replace it with x times x minus 3. Next, we have x squared minus 64. Reminder, there are 2 ways to go about this one. There's the ACB method, which is a bit longer, and then there's the shortcut. I want to do the shortcut. How do we do the shortcut? Square root. This is a difference of squares, so we can square root both of these and get our factors. Square root the front, square root the back, leave the negative out of the square root. We'll set up our factors. Reminder, when you take square roots, you get a plus and a minus. So one of them gets a plus and the other gets a minus. Square root of x squared in the front will give us x's. Square root of 64 in the back will give us 8's. So those are my factors. X plus 8, x minus 8, and that will go on the bottom of that first fraction. Two more, both trinomials. And that's going to take more space than this little gap will provide, so I'm going to start over here. Next, we have 3x squared minus 23x minus 8. First, look for a GCF, especially since that front number is not 1. Bless you. Now, on the surface, we might have a GCF here, but the GCF would be 3, and 23 and 8 are not divisible by 3. So we can't take a 3 out of here. No GCF. Next, we'll launch into our ACB method. ABC. Hopefully by now you have noticed that there is a number in a spot that is not 1. So that means we're going to have to do slide and divide here. For that, I'll go ahead and set up my factors with that step included. So we'll have x's in the front. And then when we figure out what these two numbers are, we'll have to divide them by that a divided by 3. I'll get to that in a moment. Let's figure out what the factors are. ACB charts, A times C on the left, B on the right. A times C, 3 times negative 8 is negative 24, and B is negative 23. And since AC is negative, this is a subtraction problem. Pro tip, when these are 1 apart, the AC and the B, that means we're going to use the 1 and itself set of factors. So 1 and 24. That's the only way to get 23 when subtracting. It's subtraction. I want you to test both ways. 1 minus 24 or 24 minus 1. To get negative 23, I'm going to need the first arrangement. 1 minus 24 is negative 23. So I'm going to use 1 and negative 24 for my factors. So it's x plus 1, x minus 24. And now I do the slide and divide. 1/3, that's a decimal, so I'll move the 3 in front of x. 3x plus 1. And 24 over 3 is 8, so I can divide. X minus 8. So those are my factors, and those will go on top of the second fraction here. 3x plus 1. X minus 8. I have one more problem to do, and it's this bottom one here. That will only take a moment. X squared minus 4x plus 3. No GCF here, the front number is 1. We'll label ABC and use the ACB chart. A times C is positive 3. So we're adding on both sides, or sorry, on the right side to get that number. And B is negative 4. 3 has only one pair of factors, 1 in itself. And I want to be able to add them to get negative 4. How does that happen? Yeah? Both negative. Negative 1, negative 3. These are my factors. So I end up with x minus 1, x minus 3. And that will go on the bottom of the last fraction. Questions on any of the factoring problems before I finish the problem? Let's put this all together. So next we are going to actually multiply, and by multiply we just put it all together into one fraction, and then we'll do some canceling. We have x as a monomial. It's already in front, but if it weren't there, we'd need to put it in front, and then all the parentheses after that. X minus 3, 3x plus 1, x minus 8 on top. On bottom, no monomial, so x plus 8, x minus 8, x minus 1, x minus 3. That's my clean copy, so I'm going to write that down one more time to do the actual canceling. This part is optional if you want to leave it out, but I think it would be helpful. Alright, so now I'm actually going to cancel things out. I'm just going to go along the top. It's the most consistent way to do it. I have an x on top, no x's on bottom, no like solo x's. So I'm going to continue. X minus 3 on top, x minus 3 on bottom, those cancel. 3x plus 1 on top, none on bottom. X minus 8 on top, x minus 8 on bottom, those cancel. Whatever's left is going to create our answer. We have x times 3x plus 1 over x plus 8, x minus 1. There's our answer. Questions on number 3 before I do the final problem for today, number 4. Number 4, dividing rational expressions. The rules for dividing fractions. 3 words. Does anyone remember them? Hardy? Yes. Keep, change, flip. Which I'll refer to as KCF. Not KFC, but KCF. Keep, change, flip. That's how we divide. So if you don't remember what that means, keep, change, flip. I'll add some context under here. The first fraction, we keep it. First fraction stays exactly the same. The division, we change to, and I'll just put a times. So we change to multiplication. And then the last fraction, we flip, and I hope you understand what that means. Top becomes bottom, bottom becomes top. That's all it's asking for. So I'm going to do exactly that. First fraction stays exactly the same. Don't make any changes to it. X squared plus 6x plus 8 over 3x cubed minus 12x. Change the division to multiplication. And then flip the second fraction. So we end up with 15x to the 5th over 2x squared plus x minus 28. When you get to division problems, I want you to do that first. Don't do the factoring first. One concern I have is if you go in and do all the factoring, you'll forget to do the keep, change, flip later because you've already done so much work into the problem. So keep, change, flip first, and then go like normal. Factor, then multiply. All right. I'm going to go ahead and block off some workspace because I will need it. Now we're going to go through and factor. First problem, x squared plus 6x plus 8. No GCF here. The first number is 1, A, B, C. Make our ACB charts. A times C on the left, B on the right. A times C is 8, and it's positive. So we're adding to get that B value. And B is 6. I'm going to speed this up a bit, so I'll just give you the numbers each time. The two factors we need are 2 and 4, because 2 plus 4 does equal 6. So we have x plus 2 and x plus 4. So first fraction, I'm going to replace the top with x plus 2, x plus 4. Next problem, below it, I have 3x cubed minus 12x. What do we look for first? GCF, thank you. This does have a GCF. Now this one is more than just a number or more than just a letter, it is both. Make sure you're always checking for both. First off, 3 and 12, you can divide both of those by 3. And notice they both have x's on them. They both have at least 1. So we can actually take out 3x. That's the full GCF. If you don't take out the full GCF, then your answer will be partially incorrect. So I'm going to pull that out. 3's cancel. And then we have x cubed over x to the first. That's x squared. Minus 12 over 3 is 4, and the x's cancel. And we are not done here. I'm going to write that again. This doesn't happen often, but it's something you should keep an eye out for. You should notice when inside those parentheses you end up with something that can still be factored, a different factoring problem. X squared minus 4, this is a difference of squares. So we can square root both of these. That 3x is still going to hang out. It's part of the answer. When we square root, we have the plus and the minus. So we have two answers here. Make sure you write them both. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of 4 is 2. That is the full factorization of 3x cubed minus 12x. So I'll put all of that on the bottom. 3x times x plus 2, x minus 2. Times our second fraction. On the top here, 15x to the 5th, that's a monomial. I can't do anything with it, so I'm just going to write it down. 15x to the 5th. And then the bottom, we will have to factor. Lastly, we have 2x squared plus x minus 28. As always, look for a GCF first. We don't have one because the b term is 1. ABC. And hopefully you notice that a here is not 1. So we will have a slide and divide as well. I'll go ahead and set that up now. We have our x's. And then when we find the factors, they will be divided by 2. ACB chart. A times C on the left, B on the right. A times C, 2 times negative 28, that's negative 56, and B is positive 1. Since A is negative, we are subtracting in this problem. I'll give you the factors. They're probably the two you thought of first, 7 and 8. And we want positive 1, so check both ways. 7 minus 8 or 8 minus 7. We want positive 1, so we're going to go with 8 minus 7. So it's positive 8, negative 7. Make sure you put the negative where it goes. Our factors are x minus 7 and x plus 8. Slide and divide. 7 divided by 2 is a decimal, so I'll push the 2 in front. 2x minus 7. 8 over 2 is 4. X plus 4. These are my factors. And I'll replace above. 2x minus 7. X plus 4. Now we multiply, as in put it together into one fraction. The monomial 15x to the 5th actually needs to go in front, so I'll write that first. 15x to the 5th times x plus 2, x plus 4, over 3x needs to go in front. X plus 2, x minus 2, 2x minus 7, x plus 4. And we're going to cancel. I'll start with the parentheses. X plus 2 over x plus 2. Those both cancel. And we have x plus 4 top and bottom. Those also cancel. I'm going to come back to the monomials. Those do cancel as well because they are their own terms. They're not attached to a plus or minus. 15 over 3 is 5. 15 becomes 5, and 3 becomes 1. The x's, we can subtract the exponents here. Again, they're their own thing. We have x to the first, so we have 5 minus 1 on the top, and the x to the first cancels. I'll write my answer, and then we'll be finished. We have 5x to the 4th on top. And then we have x minus 2, 2x minus 7 on bottom.